What's up, everybody, and welcome to another comic character of the week. I am your host with the most, as always, Jamie. With me, as always, are two familiar faces and one you've seen on other other shows we have. But
Better not be on all the channels.
he does what he wants. But
I'm
at least he's not
around.
in the closet. We have Sal, the Slab Fairy / Guy Rowe, with us. Sal, how we doing, buddy?
We're doing good, man. You guys can check me out on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner or on Instagram of the Slab Guy 77.
And we got the artist that's stuck in the closet, formerly known as Dan Kelly.
Hey, you can check me out on my Instagram page at Dan Kelly Art. Search hashtag Dan Kelly Art. I post a few times a week. Commissions are open, and you can get ritzy stuff like this Spawn #1 sketch cover that I just finished.
That's awesome. That is awesome, dude.
Thank you.
I love it.
Good work on that. And we have someone filling in for Kevin because of the fact that Kevin can't see. He's blinded by the light. So we had to bring in the who's of who's, the man, the myth, I wouldn't say legend because legends never die. Tim.
Hey guys, you know who I am. You know where I'm at. If you were watching Codex last night, or if you're watching this after it's been recorded, Codex After Dark with Sal. Great time, wonderful time to sit down, talk with Sal and Wes, talk about slabs. You can also see me on the Codex podcast with Jamie and the immortal Sonny Kruger.
All right, and we have a great show lined up for you, but let's get this business out the way first. As always, guys, go check out the codexstation.com, your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Buy some merch, meet the team, talk to us, let us know what you like, don't like. Guys, you have no reason to miss out on all the socials because they are there. So go like, share, subscribe. And, we're all comic book fans here. There's somewhere I'm forgetting that you can save some money.
Where would that be? I think Sal. I think he knows.
I know. You guys got to check out a site called Heroscornercomics. They are an excellent site. They're online, and they're also on Facebook. You can set up pull lists. You can get variants. You can get back issues. You can get slabs. It's an amazing company. Great people. Cannot recommend it enough. And there's more. If you go to the website and use the code CODEX, CODEX, no hyphen, you can save 20% on that order.
Yes,
and they're
running more in the show later on today. But Dan, what else can they do?
What's the thing they're running now? The $100 grab bag that's guaranteed to have $250 worth of merch in it.
Ooh,
yes.
Yep, it's a mystery box.
Mystery box, great deal.
Yep. $100 mystery box.
And
go check
they
it out.
are going to have exclusive in there, aren't they? If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be a comic worth more for a certain person.
How long's that sale running for?
To the end of the month.
Good thing, because I'm going to buy one.
Just let Louie or jump on Heroes Corner Comics and let them know that you're interested, and they will put your name on the list. They're doing tiers right now. So 30 had unlock the first tier, 45 is unlock second tier, and third tier is going to be the 60 to complete the order.
Very nice.
So get on that. Trust me. It's going to be worth every penny. Yes, we are. So shall we get into some comic character of the week, which is this week's character, Green Lantern Kyle Rayner. I am so excited. One of my favorite characters. And with the origin of this character, Dan, why don't you take it away?
So Kyle Rayner's first appearance as a cameo in Green Lantern 48, which was from January 1994. He's created by Ron Mars and Daryl Banks. He officially became Green Lantern, I guess, the very end of issue 50, 51s, where he's really, the Green Lantern. He was a freelance artist that was chosen to be the last Green Lantern after Hal Jordan got infected with parallax, went crazy, and destroyed the entire Green Lantern Corps. There was one ring and battery left, and it was given to Kyle Rayner. At first, they said he was just kind of randomly chosen because he was there, and it was retconned later that, the ring chose him. And he's got all the powers of, that you get from the Green Lantern ring. He can fly, can make energy blasts, can make energy constructs, can translate different languages, fly in space, all that great stuff. And then he's had different identities and, different power sets throughout the years, but that's the primary stuff for Green Lantern. And I have a feeling that we'll get into all the rest of it throughout this episode.
Oh yes, we will.
Yes. Now, we always talk about these characters every single week, and we have so many more planned for you. And if you've been watching the show, you already know where we're going for this. Where does this character fit best? What scenario does he work best in? And since Kevin's not here because he's blind from constructs that are unable to see, Sal, why don't you take this one away?
Sure. So what I like works best with him is they kind of portrayed him a little differently than the rest of the Lantern Corps. So you have Hal Jordan, whose pure will and concentration is his main power, like his main focus type of thing. You have John Stewart, who was a mechanical engineer, so his constructs show rivets and bolts and everything mechanical in his constructs. And now you have Kyle Rayner. He's a freelance artist, as we said. And when he makes his constructs, it's almost like it's paintings. His paintings or his drawings are coming to life. And as his paintings are changed or evolve, you kind of almost like they described it as like a pen sweeping away and then redrawing out the new construct. And I find that very interesting, and I find that very unique for the character. So I think that works best for him.
Yeah, I mean, that great explanation right there. Dan, any thoughts, brother?
That's what I was going with too, is him when he is able to use his artistic creativity to make his constructs. Like Sal said, Stewart makes more of the technical stuff. Guy Gardner, it's just aggression. He'll just, make a big boxing glove and punch you in the face or shoot you with a laser. Hal Jordan, it's like you said, it's just he's gonna hit you with a fighter jet, or he's just gonna hit you with the old boxing glove or something. But as far as creativity with the type of stuff he makes, Rayner is the best of all the Green Lantern Corps, not just the Earthbound ones, I think, but all of them when it comes to that. Which has got to be fun for the artist to draw too, because it literally fits in with the character that whatever wild, crazy thing you can think of, you're not going to have to justify it based on if it's Hal Jordan or any of the other ones. It's like, no, he's an artist. He's going to come up with any of this stuff. Go crazy.
Right. Tim.
Yeah, so he's green. He has a ring. Kyle Rayner, out of all the Green Lanterns, at least the human Green Lanterns, kind of piggybacking off of what Sal and Dan said exactly. I think Kyle is the most imaginative of all the Green Lanterns when creating constructs. Hal Jordan has military service in his background. John Stewart, like you guys said, mechanical engineer. So their thinking is more refined and almost tunnel vision in a sense, because both of them, maybe less Hal, but more John, would have a harder time thinking outside the box. But with Kyle, the box doesn't exist, and the whole world, his whole imagination is what he can come up with. And Jamie, I believe when we did the review of his first real story arc, that was one of the things he said. He was like, why am I going to make a boxing glove? Why am I going to make this when I can make this?
Yeah,
and
when I have the opportunity to make anything I can see.
Exactly. And I thought that was really well. I think we're talking about how well he works as a character. I think he works really well as an independent by himself, but I also think that he functions superbly well in a team once he becomes comfortable.
Nice.
Yeah.
But for anybody that's gonna get this reference, I think he's great in relationships.
I think he's had more. I think he's dated more of the DC universe than Nightwing has.
Yeah, and most of them aren't there. Or they're grabbing something from the fridge right now.
I was gonna say he's grabbing a beer from the fridge.
Major force.
But no, I think piggybacking off of Tim, he's great as an independent character. I'll get into more of that, why the character or reasons why they suck, basically. But for this one, it's more of when he's a lone wolf, he does better. I feel like there's no limit to what he can do, and there's no block on his creative ability to win. Where when he's with the team, he's seeing everyone else doing something, especially with the corpse. You look at like he's looking at Hal, he's looking at Giant, he's looking at Guy. They're all doing this stuff. And I know at one point there was in Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps, he even sat back and said, he goes, "It's intimidating when I'm with you guys. You know, I try to be my best and I can't because I feel like I got the juggernauts in front of me, the guys who started it all, while I was just doing it by myself."
But the funny thing is Kyle's as much of a juggernaut as the rest of them are.
But he never puts himself in that
exactly.
box.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that's kind of how he was when Grant Morrison reformed the Justice League. And it's like, all right, we're going to have the big seven. And he was the Green Lantern at the time. So he was in it. It was a completely different dynamic with him as the Green Lantern than the old days when it was Hal Jordan, who is like Mr. Brash. You know, nobody has as much confidence in themselves as he has in himself. And then you had Kyle with like the, you know, with alongside like Wonder Woman and Superman and Batman, and he's like questioning himself because
I don't belong.
He's the new guy on the block, even though he's potentially one of the most powerful.
Right.
I want to go out on a limb here and actually say he kind of paved the way for Jessica Cruz, because if you read her story, she has that confidence problem too when she first became Green Lantern. So I
know less about her than I do Kyle.
So I think maybe read up on her because it's a good story.
Yeah, her origin's actually really good.
It is interesting.
I'm gonna write that down.
But yeah, like I said, so with these scenarios and everything, there's a plethora of badass moments for this character. Over 140 issues worth for his very first run, and more leading in. So, Dan, give me top 3 badass moments or favorite moments from this character.
One is, one of you mentioned Major Force when he, for a lot of comic fans know that Major Force killed his first girlfriend a couple issues into his run and stuffed her in a fridge, which is, become fridging and it's become a big controversial thing in comics. But I think it was right after that he decided he had enough of Major Force. And since Major Force is an energy being kind of like Captain Atom and is immortal, Kyle just beheads him and throws him off into space. It's like, I'm done with you. You're not gonna die from this, but you're not gonna be around here anymore. I also say at one point he had pretty much godlike powers and was not a Green Lantern anymore. He was a character called Ion, and he chose that even though he had this amazing godlike power, he's like, this isn't right, and he gave up the power. Which to me, that's a badass moment because everybody's always like, more power, I can do this, I can do that, and he's like, no, this is this is too much. And his origin, and the third one is, his origin was that after Hal got infected with Parallax, went crazy and killed the Green Lantern Corps, he was the last Green Lantern, and he was the only Green Lantern for a long, long, long time. And then when they brought Hal back and other characters, Kyle was actually the one that restarted the entire Green Lantern Corps. So, I mean, that's pretty badass to go from I'm the only one to now there's thousands of us because of me.
Not bad.
So, I don't know. What do you got, Sal?
All right. So the 3 badass moments I got for him, but let me just kind of like echo or like kind of expand on your one, Dan, because that was a badass moment when he became Ion. He was essentially the energy of the battery energy absorbed 100%. So that's how he became Ion, and he he disseminated or distributed that energy back out to recreate the whole core. So gotta agree, that's a badass moment. But my 3 I got is when he was fighting Sinestro, and he puts a bunch of arrows into his back, and he just says, "Oh, by the way, Green Arrow says hi." Type of thing. Because the little backstory on this is Green Arrow kind of fought Sinestro a little bit, and Sinestro beat the crap out of him. And when Kyle came into the scene, he put the ring of arrows into his back and just said, "By the way, Green Arrow says hi," that type of thing. It was just a classic moment for him. So my next badass movie, when he was actually fighting Parallax on Oa, the battle was going, and Kyle puts aside everything to sacrifice to stop him or stop Parallax from succeeding by overcharging the battery. And the kind of way the fight goes is he's gonna overpower or overcharge the battery and have it explode. And he's doing this, and Hal or Parallax is like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, well, it's a battery, right? And he's like, right, because batteries could be overcharged. And the face on Parallax right then was like, oh shit, that type of thing. And of course, that's how he defeats Parallax at that point. And then my last badass moment is during the new Guardians run. He actually was able to wear or become the first person to wear all 7 lantern rings at the same time.
Ooh.
And have that power, that ability. And that was a pretty badass moment for me, I think. So what do you got over there, Tim? I believe. What do you got for badass moments?
I think it's me.
Yeah, because Jamie always goes last.
I have not read enough stuff with Kyle in it, and that is shameful, and I apologize. I will fix that. But the stuff that I have read has been pretty solid, and I think as far as like 3 badass moments, I think the first one has to be in his first real fight when he was fighting Mongol.
That was a good one, yeah.
Yeah, and he's on the beach with his girlfriend. They're trying to figure out like how to promote him, kind of thing.
Mhm.
And
Right.
Mongol shows up and he's like, I'm here to kick ass and take names, and you're the first one in front of me. And Kyle's like he's at his most raw. He's just starting to get comfortable with the ring, and his first real fight is against Mongol. And I think that is badass on itself because of how he handled it, how he was able to figure it out. And even when Superman came in, Kyle, even though he fell back for a little bit, came in to take the reins and help save the day. I thought that was cool. Badass moment number 2, his entire presence in Blackest Night. I think that goes without saying. When I read Blackest Night after Jamie suggested that to me, I think I came at you and I was like, that's one of the best stories I've ever read.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And Kyle's part in that is absolutely wonderful. And he doesn't even come in till later in the story, like halfway through, right?
Yeah, it's issue 5. He actually comes in.
So toward the end is when he comes in. And correct me if I'm wrong, but doesn't he bring the rest of the Corps with him, or at least the green ones? Is that right? Maybe I'm wrong on that.
He brings the missing components of them.
That's
so
right.
Like
Yeah,
Kilowog, Tumor. It wasn't Tumor Ray. It was Tumor 2 at that point, I believe, because Tumor Ray was actually gone.
Yeah. And badass moment number 3, I think I'm gonna have to take it again back to like his first real story arc, and how he was able to deal with and go through the death of his girlfriend. Because even though Daryl Banks said that they wrote her as a throwaway character, you could tell just in those couple of issues how attached he was to her, and that he didn't completely break down and turn into a puddle of goo after he found her mangled body in a refrigerator, and was able to, his origin story, he was able to use that and become, at least start the foundation of the Green Lantern he would become.
Hey Tim, let me add something to that.
Sure.
The fight that you had with Mongol, because at this point we find out that he has or Yellow has no effect on him. And
he figures that out. He's like, why is
Mongol's like, what? Because now he could actually hurt Mongol.
Am I supposed to be afraid of Yellow? What's going on here?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that. I thought that was great.
Yeah,
because Mongol's a heavy hitter in the DC universe too.
Yeah.
No, I think definitely.
One honorable mention is the fact that he said, "To hell with the old suit. I'm going to make my own," and made his own identity. That one too.
Yes,
I did like his new costume, except I guess it'd be unpopular opinion on here. I never liked the mask that he made for himself.
Oh,
that it looked too odd for me, especially the way it would like completely cover his nose. And
Like, how do you breathe?
well, no, just because it made it look like his face like had no nose, because it would be
Fair
flat
enough.
on that part of it. It wouldn't
Yeah.
be angled, so it just
Mm.
you know, to me, I never liked that, though I liked the rest of the suit.
Well, he has to hide more than just his cheekbones. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie? She noticed him from the cheekbones.
Oh my god. Jamie, what do you got? What are your top 3?
All right, so my top 3 is number 1, him standing up to Superman. That was, if I'm not mistaken, issue 142 or 43 of the Green Lantern run. Basically, he's the newbie in the JLA along with a bunch of others like Connor, Hawkins, Green Arrow, Wally West being the Flash, him being Green Lantern in that scenario, and he just doesn't agree with Superman's ways. And we'll kind of see more what I'm talking about later with that. But I thought that was a moment because who stands up to Superman?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, who's gonna go, fist for fist with the Man of Steel himself?
Batman. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm Batman. If you want to know more about Batman, go check Comic Character Week Batman Edition.
That's right.
I'm going to Apocalypse and bringing Damian back alive.
No. So please don't. My second pick for this is when he was Ion, and I'm gonna allude to what you guys were saying earlier, but there is a part where he's talking to Jade, I believe, when they were in a relationship, and Jade's like, "You're not even here, are you?" And he's literally in his apartment talking to her, and
Yeah.
he's like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "You're here, but you're not." And he goes,
Yeah.
"You're right." And he's like, "I've got 12 other manifestations of myself around the world watching everything right now, and one watching Earth as we speak." And there's just a still of him above Earth, just looking down, watching everything that's going on.
Was that kind of like a Dr. Manhattan thing?
Because he could throw his manifestations anywhere, so he can kind of
Got
watch.
it.
He's
Yeah.
basically the ideal watcher of all things.
So he hadn't separated himself from reality.
No, his consciousness was still
Yeah.
there. It was just in 12
Okay.
different areas at once, and he was able to
Right.
process it all.
Got it. Okay.
And then the last one, and it's a running joke, but I have to do it because of the fact of how great but sad it was at the same time, was Hal Jordan and Green Lantern Corps after he loses the White Lantern power. They're talking, and I forgot who it was. It was not a lantern, but they're like, "Yeah, my girlfriend died, blah blah blah," and he goes, "Yeah, I have a problem with fridges." But then they're about to fight somebody, and he's like, "But I use all of the thought process to take it out on these guys," and just goes and starts whipping out an army, like completely taking them out left and right, making constructs you never thought of. And at that moment, you kind of see that he still holds on to it to be better, and he still holds on to it to progress as who he is. So it's kind of like that last Rocky movie where he's like, "I still got stuff in the basement." Like, he still
birthday,
does, and he
Paul.
still uses it every now and then just to win.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my 3 great moments. But with these great moments come, areas where these characters do suck, and we want to make them better. So, Tim, where's an area for you that this character lacks that you think, is a pinnacle trait that needs to be worked on?
The writers need to use him more. I think that's
Thank
number
you.
1. I think he is a severely underutilized character. He was created in the 90s during peak throw it at the wall, see what sticks kind of thing. But luckily, he was one of the characters that caught on and has a very loyal and dedicated fan base. This guy up here being one of them. I think he is incredibly underutilized, and I think he needs to have a series of his own if he doesn't already. And he needs to be a major player in the Green Lantern Corps, all of that stuff. I think that is the main thing that needs to be worked on for him.
All right. Dan, what do you think, man?
I somewhat agree with that. But I think his status quo changes too often, because it seems like he's kind of the odd man out since the rest of the Green Lantern Corps came back, and writers don't really know what to do with him. It's like, he's Green Lantern. and now he's Ion, and now he's Green Lantern again, and he's like, since he brought the core back, the Guardians, have what I forget what they call him, the Torchbearer. Isn't that what they call him? He's like the revered one, and then like now he's White Lantern, and he's like, it just seems like he'll be one thing, and then a year or two later it's something different, and then a year or two later it's something different. And yeah, he's been around since the 90s, but it's not like he's been around for 60, 70 years, and it's like, all right, he's one thing for 10 or 15 years, and then they change it for another 10 or 15 years. Like, it changes too often because, like I said, I feel like with the rest of the Green Lanterns back, they don't really know what to do with him. Like, they know he's an important character, and he's an important part of the Green Lantern mythos with everything he's done for him, but he's not Hal and John, who, and to an extent Guy Gardner, who were like already around longer, and some of the other ones. So he kind of gets lost in the sauce a bit.
That's fair.
What do you think, Sal?
You guys have like taken the words right out of my mouth. This is what it is, 100%. The writers do not know how to progress or use this character in his best fashion. He was Green Lantern, he was Ion, he was a White Lantern, he's now back to being a Green Lantern. Make up your damn mind and go with it. Yeah. So he's underutilized. He's not specialized, and you're right. He's taken a back seat to a lot of the core now, a lot of the writing. But DC in general has like really messed the core, messed the whole mythos of the Green Lantern so much that it's just like I'm not even sure they know where they want to go with it. So that trickles down to even all the characters where they don't know where to go with the characters either. So it's really going to be based on just the writing. There's honestly nothing really wrong with the character.
Yeah,
I think in any shape or form. There's just they just don't know what to do, what to keep them with. So
that makes sense.
For once, I gotta agree with all of you on that aspect. I think the biggest villains is the writers on this. Because if you think about it, when he was Ion, it was great to have that 12-issue maxi series, see what he could do, but he gave it up. Do you guys know who the new Ion is? Because there is one.
No, I don't know the Ion.
Is it Gnort?
No, it's not Nort.
I know who he is.
Is it the Daxamite? I forget his name.
No, it's John Stewart. But...
No, it's a throwaway character no one's ever heard of. He just took up the mantle, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm Ion. I could take care of this." And then we never see him again.
Wow. Placeholder.
He became a the White Lantern, the Guardian, the true one that can wield all rings. And then they kind of bring him to Earth, and he's like, "Oh, the Guardian stripped me of my powers." Where are you going from that? Well, I'm just a member of the Corps again. It's like, what? There's no real reason for that to happen. And then
it was Tuesday.
Yeah, it's just normal Wednesday for us.
He used to be in the Justice League. He was in the Titans for like 5 minutes.
He was in Titans for like 10 issues.
Wow. Yeah,
so and that's another thing is where I think he lacks is when you put him on a team-based book, because not only are you already using him on the back burner, but now you're further placing him away because of the fact that he's on a team, so he's not getting much time anyways.
Yeah.
You don't get to utilize him the way you want to. There's no capabilities for him. It's just, hey, he's here because he's here.
Yeah. We need a Green Lantern on the title, so
exactly. We need a Green Lantern to throw in this book, so we just kind of picked him.
And it's always him.
Stuff.
We need to insert. Who are we not using? Well, obviously Kyle, so let's throw him in here.
Well, that goes back to exactly what all four of us have been saying, is that they don't know what to do with him. So he's the placeholder Green Lantern.
Yeah.
And no, it's the Facebook user. It's not Chip, because let's got recon. He was hit by a truck.
Yes, it's bad now. But no, it's sad to see, especially when writers don't know how to utilize them. After we had Ron Mars, Daryl Banks utilize him for almost 80 to something issues, and then Judd Winnick took over, and he did phenomenal with him, I believe, as well, if not just as good. So it's sad to see that you've got all these great writers, but no one wants to take that helm to be like, let's make them relevant again.
Well, let me ask you this, Jamie. When New 52 came around, Did Jeff Johns do anything with him in the Green Lantern titles?
By
Within
that
that,
point,
and
Al was back.
yeah, so that's Jeff Johns' guy. He's not going to take Kyle
Got it.
over
Okay.
Hal any day of the week. He said it himself. But the only time that they ever really utilized him was him as the White Lantern.
Fair enough.
In the New Guardian series. Aside from that, the only time we really seen him was when Rebirth kicked off, and it was Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps.
So he was mostly absent from all of New 52.
Yeah, I believe he was part of. Was he part of God's Head?
Yeah, he was like very little.
Yes, and that was the only relevance he had within the actual corpse, because the corp series was more focused generally on Guy Gardner until he went to the Red Lanterns.
Wow.
Yeah. Which was a cool series, by the way.
Yes,
it was. Yeah, it was a really good series.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Kyle, and we're gonna get into some top 3 or our top covers. But do you guys know where you guys can get these covers for a discounted price?
God, I would love to know.
I know. So, guys, if you want to get these covers or any other books, you got to go check out Heroes Corner Comics. They are an incredible website. They got back issues, they've got slabs, they've got variants, they've got special exclusives, and they even do pull lists. And if you buy anything online, use the code codex, that's CODEX with no hyphen, and save 20%. And Jamie, don't we have a commercial for them?
Yes, we do, and you're gonna see it right now.
Awesome.
Everyone, if you're anything like me, you love comics, but you also love a good deal. And our friends over at Heroes Corner Comics have just the deal for you. From exclusives to back issues, graded slabs, current issues, and even set up a subscription with them. And all you have to do is use the keyword CODEX at checkout. That's CODEX, and you will save 20% store-wide. So don't miss out. God, I hate the sound of my own voice, but I love this. Yeah, definitely go check them out. Get those covers. They have so much in back stock, guys. They're doing a big promotion right now. $100, you're getting $200 or $250 value for just signing up on it. They're opening tiers. We're at tier 1 right now with 30 people. 45, you're going to get tier 2. That jacks the price up of the exclusives that they're going to send out for everybody at random, whoever they think's best. And tier 3 is at 60, which is even going to be a more expensive book, slab, whatever they decide they want to do. So guys, definitely go check this out. This is a great opportunity to get some back issues, to get some randoms, find something you maybe never read before. If it's Man of War, you can send it to Tim because no one reads that shit. So definitely go check out that and send all your hard skin to Tim.
Yes, I will take all the Valiant titles you can get your hands on, please.
So definitely go check them out. But without further ado, let's get into some covers.
Yeah.
And with that, we are going to start with Tim and why he chose his top 3. Oh, okay. Oops, wrong one.
Yeah, Tim, why?
Tim,
because those were the only ones I could think of. So obviously the first one there, Green Lantern 51, that is the first cover appearance of Kyle. Iconic cover, in my opinion, and it's beautiful artwork by Daryl Banks. That tells you everything you need to know when you know nothing about the character. You are in for a wild ride. The all-new Green Lantern. It all begins here. Absolutely. The one in the center, I think that is a definite more modern take on what Daryl Banks started. And that just looks absolutely gorgeous. And I think that is a great representation of what he became as a character as he progressed. And it looks beautiful right there. Cover number 3, countdown number 33. I think that right there, like in Countdown, and I'll get into that a little more in a minute, he was kind of a big deal in that. And that is the series that took place after 52. And just cover alone looks absolutely fantastic. I own that issue, and that right there should intrigue anybody to check it out.
All right.
Nice covers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dan, you are up.
Oh,
All right,
look at that.
so like Tim, I had Green Lantern 51. It just, as I said, I never was really crazy about the mask, but that cover is just, it's awesome. It's dynamic. You see him flying towards you. You know, this is a new Green Lantern, new suit. You know, it says all new Green Lantern. Like you can even see he's not just changed the suit, but he's changed the Green Lantern logo, which had been around for decades and decades. And he's just like, yep, changing everything, making it mine. And then I also have Green Lantern 145, where he's just kind of making a surfboard and making this giant green wave. And then the way that the logo is integrated into the wave, it's just a really awesome looking cover, and speaks to his creativity as a as an artist and some of the stuff that he can do on the with the ring. It's like, you'll never see some of the other lanterns like, oh, I'm going to make a big green tidal wave and surf on it. And then Green Lantern 155, that's when he got his new suit that was designed by Jim Lee. Jim Lee did the covers for, it wasn't many Green Lantern issues. It was a few of them, though, that he was doing the covers for then. And you see him in the foreground with his new costume. And then you see Hal Jordan in the background. At that point, DC had Hal Jordan as the Spectre. Yeah. And the issue itself is pretty cool, too, where Kyle is kind of questioning, he had given up the power of Ion, right before this. And this friend of his that was gay had gotten beaten pretty severely, and they didn't know if he would survive. And Kyle was kind of questioning, did I give up this power? I could have done something to prevent this, but I gave up the power and I wasn't there. And he's trying to convince Flash in that issue to let him use the cosmic treadmill to go back in time to change it. And Flash has to tell him no, we can't do that. It's, it's not a good idea. And, he kind of gets into it with Batman a little bit too. And then he has to go have this, have this one-on-one talk with Hal Jordan, and the whole issue is him trying to put it in perspective. Turns out that his friend made it and his friend was going to survive. And, but it was also at the end of this issue that he decided that he was just he couldn't stand being on Earth anymore. And he was just going to leave Earth for a while. So it was a significant issue, but it was really just an awesome cover too.
All right. Sale.
All right, so we'll start off on the left. Here we go. We got Green Lantern number 71. He actually Green Lantern goes to Gotham, and
I almost chose that.
Yeah,
me too. That's a pretty great cover.
That's a great cover, but there's a scene in there that's awesome where he covers the bat symbol with the Green Lantern logo. It's hilarious too. And then we got Green Lantern number 75, where he's made the axe and the chain, which just kind of almost like a Ghost Rider chain, but it was pretty cool. I love that cover. And then, of course, like Dan said, with Green Lantern 145, we got the surfboard and the wave, which just expresses his artistic talent. That's what it screams to me. So that's why I loved it.
All right. And then for me, I've got Green Lantern number 63 and just Parallax, and it being Hal Jordan versus Kyle Rayner, I think's amazing enough. Next up, we have Titans 34. This is that B cover, and this is him being a part of the team. I think this is the first time he really fit into a mold of a team at that point, almost taking over as the leader of the Titans, kind of being the forefront main, hero that actually has some sense and accountability to him. And like I was talking about earlier, the standoff, Green Lantern, him and Superman, issue 149. Come on, what other hero is going to be besides Batman spitting kryptonite gum in someone's eye is going to stand up the Superman?
And that was a cool costume he has there too.
Yeah, and that's what I loved about it. He
Look
consistently
at the size of that S, though. Sorry,
hey, don't mess with the S. We're talking about Kyle here. But with that,
I like how they had the height difference between him and Superman too. It's like, all right, he's shorter than Superman, but he's still not backing down at all.
Yeah, it's a David Goliath type aspect on that, and I thought that was a great point of view from there. But with that being said, these covers are great, but there's these great stories and even better art inside these books. So we're gonna go over some essential readings, some of our recommended readings, and Sal, I'm gonna have you take this one away.
All right, cool. All right, so first up we got Hero's Quest, which is issues 71 through 73. So he's going on his quest now to make himself a better hero. And one of the, he sees Wonder Woman, he sees Batman, he's going through each issue, trying to make himself a better hero. And who better to to get recommendations from is the big three. And the issue 71, which was my cover, the day where he goes to Gotham and he shows up there, and Batman's just like, "Get out of my city. Just get out. Just get out now." And he's like, "No, you gotta show me what to do with this, or help me with this." Batman reluctantly, but then helps him. And then as he's leaving, he puts the Green Lantern symbol over the bat symbol just for spite, and it was hilarious. So it's a good read because it kind of goes into his whole confidence level, or his whole building his confidence to be a better hero type situation. And then of course we have Emerald Twilight from 48 to 51, which is the beginning story, his origin story. You can't really say much on that, but that's a definite good place to start. And then I also have Green Lantern: The New Guardians, the series that he was in. This is a great series, and I'm going to do a review on this series, or at least the first couple of issues of it in a review later this week, hopefully. This is a good series because he teams up with the other members of different corps and tries to help them go their way, or go their ways better, do their ways better, I should say. So it's a good way for him being like a leader and also like a role model as well. So I like this series, and I highly suggest it.
I'm going to write all these down so I know what to read.
Okay.
All right. Well, Tim, you can tell us what you've already read because you're on next.
Awesome.
You're on next.
So, Tower of Babel, guys, is in the JLA title. I don't have the exact issue numbers right now. Sal, our resident researcher, could figure that out for me while I'm talking.
All right.
But Tower of Babel, wonderful, wonderful story. If you ever wondered what it would take to defeat every member of the Justice League, Batman figured that out. Now, keep that in mind, and some villain got that information and started actively using it against Justice League members. Kyle's a member of the Justice League at this time, and what is done to him is awesome. I'm not going to say what it is, but you need to read it. It's one of the greatest JLA stories ever written, and Kyle is a big part of that. So is definitely one.
I have the issues for you, Tim. JLO issues number 43 through 46.
Mark Waid wrote that, I believe, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. Pick it up, guys. You will not be disappointed. Number 2 on my list is Countdown. So DC did something for a whole year called 52, and they removed the Trinity, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, out of major stuff to see kind of like what the world would do without them. And they functioned very well. Well, they returned at the end of 52, and Countdown is what leads into the worst story DC ever did, which is Final Crisis. You don't have to read that, but you have to read Countdown because it is kind of like a floating story. Like it falls in line with DC continuity, but it's not linear. It kind of floats around and moves around. Kyle's a big part of that too. And you saw that with Countdown number 33 cover that I put on there. Read that. It's great. Read 52, but read Countdown because it takes place right after that. Awesome read. Won't be disappointed. And then last pick is obviously Blackest Night. God, the whole story is good. I can't say much more than that. If you want to see like what I really, really thought about it, check out the podcast episode that we did the review of that on. But Kyle is in that too. And even though he doesn't come in until later, his part is extremely significant. And without him, I don't think Hal would have been as successful, if successful at all. to when Kyle shows up. So yeah, all three of those: Tower of Babel, Countdown, and Blackest Night must reads.
Mm-hmm. Good
Very,
choices.
very good choices. And Dan, let's see what you got.
So I'll start off. I have the Green Lantern Silver Surfer crossover, Unholy Alliances, from the glory days when Marvel and DC used to frequently do crossovers. Wish that was something that still happened, but it's by Ron Mars and Darryl Banks, who created Kyle, and Ron Mars had a long run as the writer of Silver Surfer too. And it's not really a consequential book in the grand scheme of his character, but it's just a really fun read. You get to see him, the whole classic kind of superheroes are at odds with each other, and then they realize they're on the same side and they team up against the bad guy. But you see them in it, and and it's got Cyborg Superman and Terrax and Thanos and Parallax, and it's one of those prestige format one shots. Yeah, it's a fun story. You get to see Kyle, like, in the beginning of it, when he's talking about how he's short on money and he has to go back to being an artist and drawing comics, which is always kind of a fun thing, and how he was going to design a logo for his landlord's coffee shop to get a break on his rent. And like I said, it's just a fun, cool series. Next, I got Green Lantern Rebirth, because even though it's really the story primarily of Hal Jordan coming back into DC as Green Lantern, and them retconning how he went crazy and turned out, it wasn't really him. It was this creature called Parallax that was imprisoned in the Green Lantern battery. And, that's why he's yellow, and he's the representation of fear. And that's why the rings have the imperfection against yellow, and, all that. Even though it is primarily the story of his return, it heavily features Kyle and Guy Gardner and John Stewart. So it's really, and other core members, it's really the whole story of them. But Kyle is essential to the story. He's the one that has Hal Jordan's body. He's the one that brings it back to Earth. He's the one that tells everybody, like, hey, this is what's happening. It wasn't really Hal that was responsible for that. He's the one that restarts the core. Like, without him, none of that stuff, none of it happens. The core doesn't come back. Hal doesn't come back. None of it. Like, so he is absolutely key in all of it. And then I have Green Lantern New Guardians, which, Sal talked about. So, he covered pretty well. I'll just say, it's him as the White Lantern. It's, the book is about basically a representative from each of the different cores, as kind of new guardians over all the core. But, so those are the three I've got. What do you have, Jamie? I'm sure it's something different than all the rest of us.
As always.
It is.
And I have one that's the same. So I have Green Lantern number 132. It's An Orphan's Heart. Is the start of a new storyline, and this is the very first appearance of my favorite villain, Nero. For those of you that don't know who Nero is, well, obviously Hal has Sinestro. Kyle didn't really have his, and Nero is what Sinestro was to Hal as he is to Kyle. And I can go on a slew about why that character should have more time, but he doesn't. Second off, I'm going to go with Emerald Twilight, the thing that kicked it all off. I mean, it was just a fantastic story all the way through.
Oh, yeah.
If you guys need more information on that, definitely go check out the review on the podcast, and actually go check out the review itself if you want to. It's a separate thing right now in our review, so definitely go check that out. Lastly, I got Ion. It was the first time that one of these characters had their own like solo maxi series, but it was probably one of the best. And this is probably one of the times that I can say that the writers kind of got something right until they totally scrapped it all. But if you want a good representation of seeing someone with power that doesn't want the power near the end and learns their lessons, Ion is the read for you.
Right on. That's the 12 issue, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that is correct.
all of these are going to be in my 2 buys. So there you
Yes, definitely. But
Cool.
with these, pages and issues that we have, there's always these writers and artists that do the phenomenal work that they do that need the credit. So, guys, who are the best writer and artist combo for you that you see when you think of Kyle Rayner? And Dan, I'll have you start this one off.
For me, it was really tough choosing the writer. It was hard to choose between two of them, between Ron Mars and Judd Winnick, because they both had long runs on the character. They both did significant things to define the character. But ultimately, I had to go with, and like I said, I went back and forth, but ultimately I had to go with Ron Mars, as not only did he create the character, but he wrote him for a long, long time. And, really just, set him on the trajectory that he went on and created, the basics of who the character is. Excuse me. And for artists, there were a lot of good artists that were on his book, but for me, I had to pick an artist who's, I really liked him on Kyle's Green Lantern book, but I also really like him on a lot of the other stuff he does. Is Paul Pelliter. I don't know if I'm saying his last name right, but I think he's just like a real classic superhero artist, and his art is really consistent. I almost went with Daryl Banks, but I did find that Daryl Banks, like, covers and interiors had a bit different quality, but I ended up choosing Pelliter because just the consistency all around.
All right, Sal.
So I, struggled just like Dan did, but I ended up thinking for best writer, I got Tony Bedard, and best artist, I got Tyler Kirkham. So for Tony Bedard, he did Green Lantern Corps from 48 to 63. So that was pretty much, I mean, that's just all Kyle at that point, and I just think the stories there were just amazing. He also did, I believe it's the first 20 issues of the Green Lantern New Guardians. Mm-hmm. And for Tyler Kirkham, he did War of the Green Lanterns, and he also did the New Guardians as well. I just like Tyler Kirkham's artwork in general, but yes. I think when I think of Green Lantern's classic or whatever I'm thinking of, it's Tyler Kirkham that comes to mind.
Yeah, Kirkham does amazing work, and a lot of his work is still hard to find, especially when it comes to those Green Lantern books. Trust me, I'm trying to get them.
Right.
Tim?
Well, the amount of Kyle-specific Green Lantern books that I've read is nowhere near as large as the three of you, but from what I have read, it is a no-brainer what I would choose, and that's the writing and artistic combo of Ron Mars and Daryl Banks. When I was introduced to the character, they were the creative team on the book. That's instantly what I go to look for a basis of judgment when I look at other people doing things with Kyle. One of the best Green Lantern stories I read was before Kyle even came in, and I didn't think Ron Mars could do any better with that, but he took Kyle and just cruised right along. And Kyle's origin story, what is it, 3 issues, right? Is some of the best origins I've ever read, and like the things that happened to Kyle in those 3 issues, it moves along pretty fast, but it doesn't take you so fast for a ride that you get lost along the way. So Ron Mars and Daryl Banks, without question.
Yeah, I gotta say, this doesn't happen so often, but me and Tim are on the same page here, and we're not in different chapters.
Time to play the lottery, folks.
Yep. Yeah, right.
The apocalypse is coming.
It is. Hell's freezing over. Welcome.
Well, it already is in Michigan.
Dogs living together.
Right.
Mass hysteria.
But yeah, I'm gonna go with Ron Mars and Daryl Banks too, the two that started it all. Without them, this was the ideal basis of the character, and there's been so many reiterations. And I gotta, if the hardest thing was the artist for me, because I do like Tyler Kirkham. I thought his work was amazing, but when you look at consistency through 100 issues, Daryl Banks stole the show every time, especially with the constructs and different abilities. It was pure magnificence. And he threw some he threw his girlfriend in a fridge, so you can't really.
How are we gonna
Like-
finish this story? Just throw her in a fridge.
Yeah,
Literally,
have a leg
Whatever.
stick out. We're having chicken legs for dinner.
Oh,
Honey, grab me a beer.
Yeah. Hey, did you invite a friend over? His name, I think, is Major Douche or Force or something.
Golden
How do
here.
you know this guy?
Right. But yeah, no, those are the two that I'm always gonna think about when I think of this character, no matter what. So those are my two. But yeah, I mean, I don't think there's anything else we can really cover with this character. I think we've pretty much hit everything right on the head with him. So with that being said, I do want to say thank you guys again for letting us into your home. If you're watching us right now, or if you're listening to us on Spotify, it is a new year. We have so much more planned for you guys, especially with this show, plethora of other ones as well. Go check out all of those. Yeah, big word for me, I know.
Would you say it's a plethora?
Plethora.
Do you have a plethora of pinatas?
So definitely go check out the codexstation.com. Your one-stop shop for everything Codex. Get some merch, meet the team, talk to us, let us know what you like, don't like. Go check out Comic Character of the Day as well. We're all part of it, all on there, consistently either posting or talking crap to one another.
Yes.
In a fun fashion. I am your host, Jamie. I will leave you guys with this as always too. Guys, be kind to one another out there. You never know what anyone's going through. So even making someone smile could change the course of their day or their life. And I'll keep saying that every year till it gets annoying, but true. With me, as always, we got Salem.
Hey guys, check me out on YouTube under Sal's Comic Corner and on Instagram as the Slab Guy 77.
We got the guy in the closet, Dan Kelly.
Yep. Like that says, you can find me on Instagram at Dan Kelly Art. Search hashtag Dan Kelly Art. Commissions are open and ready to go. And then we got this guy right over here.
Hi. Thank you so much, guys, for letting me come on here tonight. It has been an absolute blast, and I learned more about the character in an hour. Who are you? I don't know. I learned more about the character in an hour than I have known since before I sat down. So I really appreciate that. I learned a lot, and I cannot wait to dive into some of these stories. Ladies and gentlemen, you know where to find us on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. So if you're not following us on Twitch, you definitely need to. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you know when we go live, so you can sit and watch all of us at any given time. Have a good time with you.
If I could just throw in too, it was it's good to have you on the show, Tim. We miss you,
Thank
Kevin.
you.
We'll talk to you again next week. But
Kevin, I'm just keeping your seat warm, buddy. Once you're ready to come back, it's all
good.
you.
Oh,
Good to do the show with you, Tim. Haven't done that many with you, so good to talk with you again.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
do we want to mention our next character that I have selected?
Did you finally select him? I've been asking.
Oh yeah, we've been waiting weeks. We haven't had a show in like a month.
Do I need to get excited about this or just not pay attention to it?
100%. 100%. I need the excitement out of you, Tim, right now.
You got
Give
it.
me excitement.
Go ahead.
Give me
Let's
excitement.
do this.
All right, very good.
it.
I have chosen Cyclops from the
Get
X-Men.
out.
Okay.
So
Now
all of a
I'm
sudden, I have plans next week, and
Oh,
can't
that's okay. I'll
make
fill in for you,
this
James.
show. You know what, Tim? I think that's a fantastic idea. You're gonna do the guy with one optic eye. You might as well have Kevin host this one.
The name's perfect for him.
But I'm going to expand this now and say, not only we're going to cover him from the regular X-Men series, but you can also bring in or tap into the potential of the young X-Men that were brought forward from time.
Oh wow.
To cover those if you want.
Oh God, yeah. So it's gonna be a fun week next week. You're gonna see Jamie in shambles after you just see him excited for a full day. You heard it from the man himself first. We will be covering Cyclops, so get ready for that. It's gonna be a show.
Is this because of the week that I chose the Tick?
Yes.
There you go.
Dan is no longer allowed to pick anything anymore. But guys, again, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in, as always, and we will see you in the next one.